And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Curry for the record.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard.
Welcome to a special edition of Hoop Streams, the end of the regular season edition. We are leading into Pacers and Nets. That is at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. Ben Simmons is here. He will not be playing, of course. Tyrese Halliburton with the beautiful pants.
The drip's nice there.
How about Kevin Durant?
Something light for Durant.
Understated.
Understated.
Reputation precedes.
Yeah, I mean, just a hoodie and a hat. I feel you, KD.
Exactly. Phil Murphy, Skubie Mageza, Arda, Ocal. We are here with you for the next half hour. Lots of intriguing storylines, especially as it pertains. We know who's making it, but we don't know in what order.
Yeah, the Nets in that position, they could go to the 7, which means play-in tournament goes through Brooklyn. They would have to lose twice at home to miss out on the playoffs entirely. But if they falter here, if other results go against them, they could slip down and have to perhaps win twice on the road. But what intrigues me, Scooby, the hot potato that is the 2 seed in the East. Nobody seems to want it out of fear, perhaps, that they're going to be getting the Nets in the first round.
Exactly. That's not a team that anybody necessarily wants to see right now when you got the firepower of KD and Kyrie Irving in your artillery. But then I'm also looking at another different team in the East, the Philadelphia 76ers. What's about to happen with them? Because are they going to be the 3rd or the 4th seed? And if they go to Toronto, listen up. Teams that go to Toronto are going to have their players vaccinated. And Matisse Thybulle, their best perimeter defender, was not with them on Thursday when they had him out there because he was listed as a non-participant. We still don't know if
ineligible to play.
Exactly. We don't know if it means that he's not vaccinated, but you know what that means when you know what that means.
Well, and again, you're looking at potentially playing the Nets, potentially playing the Raptors, who are on fire, best record in the NBA in the last calendar month. And if you're the 3, you're going to be lined up against the Bulls, who are the 6. They're 1-16 against top 3 seeds in either conference. You extend that to top 4 seeds, which includes the Sixers at the moment, 2-21 on the year. So if there is one matchup in the first round you want, right now I would have to say it's the Bulls.
You don't want to see the Raptors, man.
I love seeing the Raptors because they're my team. So I'm fine with seeing the Raptors. Just to be clear. Before we get to our all-NBA discussion, let's talk Joel Embiid. Speaking of the Philadelphia 76ers, poised, he actually will be, with Giannis sitting out today, will win the scoring title. The first time a center has done that since 1990-2000, and that was Shaq. So let's just give some thoughts on peak Shaq. Yeah. So let's give some thoughts on Joel Embiid and this milestone achievement.
I mean, he's a terrific player, and it begs the question as to why the James Harden fit seems to have cooled off in recent weeks. Because if you can get somebody that can absorb space like a Joel Embiid, that seems to be the perfect situation for James Harden to flourish. But if Harden is big game James in a sarcastic sense, not big game James as in stepping up,
game James,
then it's going to be a real short stay in the playoffs for the Sixers. And this is a team whose this era, this trust the process, this trade with the Nets is going to be defined by their ability to contend. If they happen to get falling into that 4 seed, maybe getting bounced in the first round by the Raptors, or even a second round exit, say at the hands of the Heat, they're going to view this trade in this season as a disappointment.
Most definitely. Keep an eye out on what's going to happen with those teams. Joel Embiid, can you make one more push for MVP? We'll see, sir.
40-20 in his last game. If we get that times 7 games, he can go as far as he wants because he'll be like Giannis last year in the NBA Finals.
Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, certainly 2 names that were part of this discussion.
Originally from Greece, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
From Serbia, Nikola, Jokic.
From Cameroon, Joel Embiid.
When you look at who's dominating the league, really all big men.
Joel Embiid with a ferocious play.
Whether it's Giannis,
Straight train to the rim.
Jokic.
Joker, man, that's large. As long as the big man wins, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, we got a lot of big men in this debate, the All-NBA debate. Our 2021-2022 All-NBA first team selections. Now, Phil, you are a large man. You're covering about half of our selections here.
Yeah, apologies to Jason Tatum.
Yeah, just take
or
a look.
LeBron.
So 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 centers. So the guard position, or the center position in particular, we had Embiid and Jokic both play 100% of their minutes at center. They're eligible for center or forward.
Yes.
Where are we putting them? Where are we making them eligible for our conversation here?
For me, I'm just going to say it's irrelevant as long as they're both on the team, because this is a topic that in yesteryear there were guys like Dave Cowens and Bill Russell won 5 MVPs, right? Only Kareem won more. 3 times when Bill Russell won the MVP, he was not all-NBA first team.
Yep.
He was snubbed for Wilt. So what kind of tragedy would it be, say, if Jokic wins MVP, but he's second team all-NBA? I would say Jokic at center, Embiid at power forward, because I lean Jokic in the MVP vote.
Ooh,
but for me, it's 6.5 dozen.
I don't know. Listen, I understand the whole concept of what you're talking about, and it's not fair because you wish that the NBA was just saying pick the 5 best players, but
Yes.
then it would most likely be the big guys taking it up. I got Jokic in as a first team All-NBA because what he's been able to do this season is on a higher clip in terms of getting his teammates involved. Jokic has the highest player efficiency rating in NBA history. What player efficiency rating is, I'm not going to bore you with all the stats it's about. It takes into account points, rebounds, good plays, bad plays. He has the highest one in NBA history, and he's also getting more people involved than Embiid was. Embiid, I think he's the most dominant player in the NBA in terms of points. That's why he leads them in points per game. But when you talk about who should be that center position, it's got to be Jokic. And then I'm going Giannis at forward because he played the forward position.
Yeah, but if you're telling me that Jokic and Embiid are eligible for forward and center, I'm just going to hedge my bets and put Jokic at the 5, Embiid at the 4, and then have the largest lineup of all time with Giannis at my at my other forward position. Are we allowed to do that?
But how disrespectful is it to Giannis, the guy who played the forward position, for you to tell him that we're putting somebody else who played 0 minutes at that position?
All right, so we're making a pick. Who are we putting at center first?
Jokic,
Let's just decide
right?
who we're putting at center.
Jokic.
We're putting
It's the
Nikola,
forward position that
MVP
becomes an
at
argument.
center. All right,
Yeah.
so now forwards.
We got 2 forwards.
Okay.
Are we not picking the 2 best forwards? For me, it's Embiid and Giannis. Full stop.
I'm going
Because they're both eligible at
Giannis
forward.
and Tatum for me.
Tatum over Embiid.
Okay, so Giannis is
Yes.
the consensus, so I'm putting Giannis here. All right, what about the other one?
It's got to be Embiid. If he's number 2 in MVP voting,
But he played 100% of his
or-
minutes at center. 100%. Giannis and Tatum. And the reason why, Tatum played way more games and minutes than both of these guys. He's got his team in a better position than Embiid does. And I don't know. I got to go with Tatum at that position.
Are you arguing that Tatum's a better player than Embiid?
No,
Because
I'm not.
And so
I'm not
I think
arguing
that's
that.
the conversation. If Embiid is eligible for the forward position, he's got to go on this list.
But
If you said you had to go Jokic or Embiid, I'm with you. But if you're telling me Embiid is eligible to play forward, he's the better player. He's got to be your first team forward.
But the All-NBA voting tells you to pick the best player at that position. And I know they've given us the option to take Embiid there, but I quite frankly don't think it's fair for somebody who's played that position. Embiid plays 100% of his minutes at center.
Man, I'm the guy, if you give me an inch, I'm going to take the full inch.
See,
So I'm going to go Embiid at the
We're extending the sandbox. I'm going to go with Phil on this one only because it's just overall
Arda, the
player.
arbitrator.
All right, so we'll put
If it was
Embiid
pick
there
the
for
5
now.
best players, then okay, then I'll take it. But
I think that's what Phil and I are doing in this particular situation within the sandbox still, but let's move on to guard. What do we got here? We still got some great players on the board, by the way.
Okay, so guard, guys that stand out, John Morant, Seth Curry. Where's my boy Book? Where's my boy Luka Doncic?
D-Book. Exactly.
Luka's
You
there,
got those two. Those are the 2 names that I was going to have at the guard position. Luka, and then we're going to have D-Book there because what they've been able to do for their teams this season has been unheard of. I mean, Luka has the most usage over any other player, and then Booker, to lead this team the way that he has when Chris Paul was out,
there it is,
was the most impressive part.
I mean, they're the best team at home. They're the best team on the road. They're the best team in clutch time. Top 5 players in clutch time plus minus are all Suns. That machine starts with Book, and then the rest of them. Luka Doncic is the reason that Dallas enters the day eligible for a 3 seed. If they win and the Warriors lose, they have the tiebreaker. So I'm going Book and Luka there pretty easily. All due respect to Steph Curry, but he's missed nearly 20 games, and that's the difference for me.
All
It's
right,
not,
so
it's not
Doncic-
best player, it's who's had the best season, and that's Book and Luka.
Doncic is there, and guess what? I get to scroll over. If you just go back to the previous screen, look at that. Oh, we found them. We found D-Book. There he is.
I'm setting a screen for Steph Curry. Sorry about that.
You know, this is going to be the huge argument of where are you going to put Embiid, where are you going to put Jokic, and we're going to hear that more over and over again. I'm really interested to see how this turns out.
I mean, good debates lead to good content. We had the most debated MVP debate in 32 years since Barkley, Johnson, and Jordan in 1990, and this All-NBA debate is not going anywhere.
All that matters is that everyone on social media will 100% agree with our list.
100%.
As they always do, Ben Simmons is on the court.
That's a jumper.
He did it.
We're not seeing the rip, though.
We'll just show this highlight over and over again on SportsCenter. That's what we'll do. We'll just keep it on repeat. Steve Nash says he's got a long way to go. Nets can clinch the 7th seed with a win, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. Here are your championship odds. The Phoenix Suns, that seems good, Phil. It seems pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason in the Western Conference you got to go back to 2011 to find a team that's outside the 1 or 2 seed to represent the West in the finals. The East is much more of a crapshoot, but the Suns coming up on 65 wins, franchise record, best team at home, best team on the road, best team in clutch time. I've said it before, I say it again. There's a reason they're not quite odds-on favorites, but they are the shortest odds of any team to not cut down the nets. This is in college ball, to win a ring.
Yeah, I mean, in all the advanced metrics, the Phoenix Suns lead the NBA in those. I mean, when you go into going into the fourth quarter, when leading, they're 46-0 this season. That's a hard thing to accomplish.
Okay, that begs the question: can any team beat them?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, well, the Bucks did last year. They got to stay. Booker's got to stay healthy. Ayton can't go cold. It's a short list of teams in the West who can. It's a healthy Warriors team, and it is, if the Grizzlies are on a lock at home, it just takes one win in the Footprint Center. I wouldn't bet it, but I think those are the two teams that can beat Phoenix. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think a healthy Golden State Warriors team has an opportunity to do so, but I mean, Draymond, Clay, and Steph have played a total of 11 minutes together total this entire season.
In the last 1,000 days,
exactly.
Not just this season.
So when you look at it, you're like, all right, are they going to have enough mojo jojo to get it going and have their vibe on the court to beat a team like Phoenix, who is the best clutch team in the NBA, the best road team in the NBA? Their road record is better than any other team in the NBA's home record. That is crazy when you think about what they're able to do.
Right there.
And that's how you know we on the same page, Arda, because we respect what Phoenix has been able to do. And then on top of that, I mentioned earlier what Devin Booker has been able to do when Chris Paul was out. During that time, Devin Booker was averaging over 30 points per game. He was getting his guys involved. So when it comes down to, hey, can you close this game for us? D-Book has that Kobe mentality. Those words that Kobe told him before he passed away, be legendary. And he has been legendary.
Tattooed on his arm. And we got a preview of this in the bubble. Remember, the Suns were terrific in the bubble, just didn't quite make up enough ground. Then they're so close in the finals, 2-0 series lead. Now, the next logical step, it's finals or
Let me throw a couple teams at you. Not today's Memphis Grizzlies, because they're literally a high school team today. But I mean the Ja Morant returning to the lineup, full strength Memphis Grizzlies. What about them?
Yeah, they have the grit, tenacity. There's no bigger challenge for the Suns to go into a road environment than to win in Memphis in the playoffs. As good as the Grizzlies are with Ja Morant, without Ja Morant, a lot of confidence. It feels like Memphis is still a year away from that top tier. No discredit to them.
Yeah.
They could reach the Western Conference Finals, which is punching above what you thought they would have had this season. But I would take Suns in 6 in that series.
Yeah, I feel like they're still the little brother of that, just because
the connotation of that.
Just because of the lack of the experience that they have within the playoffs. The Suns have this. I feel like their hunger is on a different level than what we can quantify, just because they got there, tasted it, and knows how it feels to be in a playoff type of atmosphere. Now, the Grizzlies, I think they're still a phenomenal team, and what they were able to do without Ja Morant on the court is another impressive thing of the season. How you win this much game without him there? Very impressive. But Ja Morant came back just the other day, right? And when he was back, he said that he watched a lot of film on these guys and saw what they did well. And what he wants to do is be a pass-first point guard. And that's what he wanted to do last night. That's what he ended up doing in the game. And he now understands what this team needs to do to be successful. So I think they can be scary. However, the Suns have that experience, which I believe in.
Phil, you know little brother Twitter is going to come after Skubie.
Yeah,
little brother, hey,
they're going to come after you now.
It's a fact.
All little brothers
oldest,
everywhere.
So.
It's a fact.
You're like, I don't care, whatever.
I know that costs.
From the west to the east, take a look at these odds. By the way, can I just say, the Miami Heat.
The 1 seed.
The 1 seed. Look how low they are on the list, people.
Well, Arda, here's why. You go back to remember the shot Ray Allen hit in the finals against the Spurs. Since then, 9 years ago, only once has the 1 seed in the East represented the finals. It's the opposite of the West, where it's a crapshoot 1-4. We saw what the Bucks did last year. We know the Sixers' ceiling, at least, with Embiid and Harden. And then the Nets, the bugaboo, the fly in the ointment for all these contenders, could come in and just wreck shop. Nobody wants the 2 seed in the East. Nobody wants to face the Nets in any round, let alone the first.
Matt, the disrespect that the Heat have gotten all season is so undeserving. Kyle Kuzma tweeted once, everyone wants to start talking about the Heat now and they've been the number 1 team in the NBA all season. Nobody's really paid attention to what they've been able to do. And then we kind of look back on some key moments of the year. Remember when they were going against Golden State and they had that little scuffle on the sideline? It was Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler and Haslam going at it. And then after that, they've gone on a winning streak. I listened to Bam Adebayo, the Zach Lowe podcast. It's popping, ESPN plug real quick. And he talks about the type of culture that they have in that team. Everyone's like, oh, my God, they're fighting. What's going on the sideline? He's like, man, that's us every day at practice. We hold each other accountable. This is the type of team that we are. And they have this nitty-gritty attitude of that underdog. Everybody wants to sleep on us. Wait till you step on the court with us. And that's the type of team they are.
That's defined Jimmy Butler's career. And I think he, above everybody else, is going to embrace this lack of confidence in this team. The Heat are dangerous. It's just the A-list star. They don't have a KD or Giannis.
Team that's been dangerous lately, the Celtics. They were 25-25 on January 28th. 25-6
Found the gas pedal.
Since that. That's exactly what they did. The gas pedal's right there, and they went.
Gas pedal.
What about their chances in the playoffs?
Robert Williams has to be healthy for them to win a series and defend for 7 games. Dream scenario for them, 3 seed, get the Bulls in the first round, get Robert Williams healthy for the second. If they can draw that up, yeah, they got a chance to make a run. If not, I think they're just going to be 1 piece short, which is unfortunate to have it happen due to injury.
Yeah, man, injuries are the best ability is availability. I pretty much say that on every sport, every show, and that's what they need. They need Robert Williams available. But the turnaround for this team, when you talk about players sending out tweets, I brought up Kyle Kuzma. Jaylen Brown sent out a tweet when they had that slow start and said the energy around here is about to be different. And it has been. They've held each other accountable. They had a players meeting where they talked about, listen, we have to be more efficient on defense. Everybody has to understand their role. And before it was everybody wants to be that guy, the star player, the one to get the most points. But it's almost as if they've kind of conceded and say, listen, I just want to win. They've let Jason Tatum be that guy who leads them in scoring. And then Marcus Smart, he's become a guy who's in that defensive player of the year conversation, and rarely do we hear about a guard being in contention for defensive player of the year. Last time it was Gary Payton, if I'm not mistaken, the glove. So to have a team that is one of the best defensive ones in the NBA, and you have a player of Jason Tatum who can drop 60 on any given night.
You got the Boston guy fired up.
I am from Boston,
y'all, so
I'm just shout out to my team real quick.
We got no Philly. We got no Philly people on this dais right now, but James Harden, what's going on there?
I mean, I made the big game James joke. It's a concern, man. 36% since that great outburst where we're starting to pencil in Sixers as finals favorites. Terrific start to Philly, and that's been the opposite of his transition to some of the other teams to which he's moved in the past. His first few games with OKC and Houston, in the Nets, he struggled. They struggled to find their rhythm, then they found it. This has been the inverts. They better find it because as good as Tyrese Maxey has been and Matisse Thybulle, assuming he can play in all the playoff games if they're not traveling to Toronto, and Joel Embiid on that 2000 Shaq level, they need all-star James Harden. They need to get past just all the obstacles in the East.
Yeah, they got trouble on their mind for sure. And with James Harden, it's almost as if that game when Brooklyn came to Philly, it's just been downhill ever since. Yeah. And comes to mind for me, I wonder if that hamstring injury really is bothering. Is James really 100%? I don't know. I don't want to sit here and make excuses for him, but the Philadelphia 76ers are going to need him to step up and take that next step in his game because they gave up a lot for James. They're the ones that really wanted him to come there. And then when you look at what they've been able to do as a team, they've had 15-point leads and blown that multiple times. The only other team to blow 15-point leads more is the New York Knicks.
Yikes.
And at
Not the company you want.
That is not the team that you want to be with. So the Philadelphia 76ers, they can rely on Embiid all that they want, but they need that guy to step up. And you brought up an important stat. James Harden is averaging, about 21 points per game this season? And they traded away Seth Curry and DeAndre Jordan. And for them, it was 15 and 6. So they're essentially still getting the same productivity, even though they switch guys.
And I will say for Harden, if he can just have the intellectual honesty to know when he doesn't have it, to turn into a facilitator, to trust Tyrese Maxey, to trust Matisse Thybulle, and sure as heck, trust Joel Embiid. Take a back seat in terms of shooting the ball rather than trying to shoot his way through it. I think that'll better suit the Sixers to make a deep playoff run.
You're watching Hoop Streams no matter where you are, whether you're watching us on Twitter, YouTube, the ESPN app. We thank you very much for doing so. It's Pacers and Nets, 3:30 p.m. On ESPN, one of the players, Kyrie Irving, a very special circumstance. He's actually fasting for the month of Ramadan. And this has a rich tradition among NBA players, NBA athletes observing the month of Ramadan. Have a look at this.
The day of fasting, everything is mentally crisp, physically strong. Oxygen, it's amazing how much energy you have. Well, I'm surprised myself. So, wow, I think I want to fast the whole season, But it's the opposite. Mentally, you're very focused. Spiritually, you're strong, and you're highly motivated and you have so much energy to execute.
That's Hakeem Olajuwon, of course, one of the more famous stories, him fasting during Ramadan, guarding Michael Jordan, outpointing him on a Sunday afternoon while he is fasting. I'm currently fasting for Ramadan. I can tell you sitting here, so for those that are unaware, to fast means basically you don't eat, you don't drink, no water even, from sunrise to sunset for the entire duration of Ramadan. That's roughly 30 days. It changes time frame every single year. Now, I'm just sitting here and talking with my friends, and I'm hangry, I have a headache, I'm tired. Can you imagine what an athlete playing at the top of their profession in the NBA is going through? And there are some, like Kyrie, that are doing this.
Yeah, you and I both love MMA, and Khabib Nurmagomedov famously would not schedule any fights during Ramadan just because what that would do to his training. And Arda, you explained to me how the lunar calendar dictates when Ramadan is, and it moves up and up and up. So the last few years with the bubble and October finals, and then last year kind of a delayed finals, we didn't really see it in the meat of the playoffs. But here's Kyrie Irving breaking his fast while on the bench after sunset. This is a very significant part of the season, and a lot of players, some players with West African heritage, some players with Turkish heritage, where I guess this is more statistically common to be observing, that it is going to present some kind of challenge, and credit to the teams and teammates helping them work with it and helping these guys, stay true to their core beliefs and their core faith while being in a very challenging, physically demanding profession.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, you're completely challenged. And I had a teammate that fasted when I played football during camp. And during football season, we're talking about 95-degree days on the turf, 2-a-days having to fast, and what he would do, he wouldn't even drink water. He would put it in his mouth and then spit it out. And he would break fast in the middle of the practice and have to sit out and then have his lunchbox there and eat. So I've seen people go through it firsthand, and I have so much respect for it, because to think about putting on all that equipment and then giving it your all every single day, and you haven't put an ounce of water or food into your body, and you're expected to perform at the highest level. Just complete and utter respect for anybody that goes through that. And for Kyrie Irving to be doing it at such an important time of the season, other people are going to look at it like, man, he's not going to be himself. But you heard Hakeem. He said, I was energized. I felt amazing. I might even fast the whole season. I thought that was the funniest part of that whole sit-down that he had there. And I have so much respect for you, Arda, for what you're doing. And happy Ramadan, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I, for one, am glad I don't have to fast the whole season. I'm glad that it's only a month. But anyone out there who is fasting, I hope that it is smooth and comfortable for you as we continue to observe the month of Ramadan. Like you mentioned, Kyrie Irving observing. Definitely some interesting times ahead for the Brooklyn Nets. And, there's some play-in pressure indeed.
We know what we got to do. We know what situation we're in.
The pressure is there for us to perform. We're built for this.
We got guys on this team that want to go out there and destroy opponents.
Irving, 60. KD doing damage.
This is the type of basketball you want. Everything matters, and you got to rise to the occasion.
I'm giving nothing but energy.
All right. We got some really interesting scenarios in the play-in tournament.
Yeah,
We've seen
play-in
some
history
great
here.
play-in history as well. The bubble. We barely remember you now. It seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
It does. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum combining for 60 in the bubble, and then Ja Morant. Welcome to the show, Ja Morant. You forget the Lakers and LeBron were in the bubble against the Warriors.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not in the bubble, in the play-in tournament against the Warriors.
Was this the game with the poke in the eye?
It was, yeah. And then LeBron saying
I saw 3 rims.
He saw 3 rims and shot at the middle one.
How'd Drake get in there?
Who knows, man? He knows people.
Yeah,
he's a Toronto guy. You should have the backstory on that.
Yeah.
But he has the kiss of death for so many franchises. I guess maybe that's what's gone wrong with the Lakers. But the Warriors did lose that game, and they had to go through Ja Morant. But Ja Morant went through the Warriors. And as much as we put heat on the Lakers for their failure to get into the play-in tournament, the Warriors haven't been in a playoffs proper since they lost to the Raptors in the finals. We've had two back-to-back seasons without the Warriors in the playoffs. Yeah, a lot of injury to go with that, but man, they seem to have skated by some of the criticism.
Yeah. All rightfully deserved. Let them know. The Warriors need to get in the playoffs and do something this year because it's been a while. And that was like Ja's coming out party during that game with the Warriors. That's when we were like, oh, man, this guy's up there.
So a reminder for the play-in tournament rules. 7 and 8 play each other. 9 and 10 play each other. The 9 and 10, the loser is out. Whoever wins that will play the loser of 7 and 8. The winner of 7 and 8 gets in automatically. So that's where we're at. Now we're going to talk about the most feared players in the play-in tournament. We have our list, and we need to populate a top 5. So we're going to show momentarily. Let's have a conversation about those players right there. Let's order them.
I'm going to scoot closer to you, Arda, because now I'm blocking for Darius Garland. So for this list, you got to go with who's available. Best abilities, availability.
Yes.
We're not ordering them by position this time around, okay?
But for me, Kawhi and Zion, I don't believe that they're going to be Zion won't play significant minutes. Kawhi, we don't expect to play. He hasn't been cleared for teamwork.
Exactly.
So if this is best players, it's a different list. But in terms of most feared for the play-in, KD and Kyrie are locks, right?
Obviously. Those are the killers that you don't want to see at all because you don't want to go against that player that can be like, you know what?
55.
I feel like dropping 50 today. I feel like dropping 60 today. They can do that. Exactly.
Both of them.
2 of them on their team. The offensive explosion is there, and it is feared by every single team in the NBA, which is why the Celtics are doing a little bit of player resting management with Jason Tatum approaching the end of the season.
All right, so next most obvious, Cat, because he's shown he can go for 60 if he wants.
I got to go with Trae Young, but you're going to go Cat with – I won't argue that.
I won't fight you with Trae Young, because I think we're going to debate number 5. So you like Trae Young.
Yeah, because we saw what he could do in the playoffs last season rather than what Cat can really do in the playoffs, I feel like Trae Young has that once you do something once, you feel better about it the second time.
You doing the ice in the veins?
The ice in the veins. That's what he does. And he's also a player that can drop 40 on any given night, and even 50.
He's someone, if the Nets slip up against the Cavs in that play-in game, if everything holds and the Nets win as 16-point favorites today, and if they fall to the Cavs, he would love to. He's already owned the Garden. He would love to go to Barclays and do the same.
Exactly. You don't want him in New York.
I'm going Cat for ceiling, yeah, because we've seen Cat, again, go for 60 points. So then this brings me to, this is the debate. Who's the 5th most feared player for completing our starting 5?
Unavailable, barely played. I'm going to go LaMelo Ball. Because here's why I'm going to go LaMelo Ball, because he's almost had that Ja Morant effect on the Hornets in terms of his leadership towards that team and turning him over. When he steps on the court, can make them a better team all around.
Art has already hit the button, so I don't really have grounds to debate you.
No, you can.
I understand. I feel Paul George, but I'm with you. Maybe not 100%. This team can put up a $150 at will.
Exactly.
And they have. So if LaMelo goes out and facilitates and does a little between the legs alley-oop type deal, maybe that would be a team to fear. But again, this is 5th of 5.
I'll put Paul George
coming
in
off
there
bench.
too, but he's only been back for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
LaMelo's more of the Hornets offensive ceiling conversation.
That'll do it for us here on Hoop Streams. Really appreciate you watching us. It's Pacers and Nets on ESPN at 3:30. Scooby, Phil, Arda. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.